Hi, everyone. There's a lot of new faces in here, so I'm just going to introduce myself. My name's Mike Oram. I work for a company in Bath called Maiden. They build web applications for the NHS. I actually don't really do anything to do with that, though. I work for a subsidiary called Maiden Academy. I train software developers there. Focus around PHP kind of thing, but it's just general programming. And I'm going to talk about becoming a Zend certified engineer. Sorry, get this the right way around. That way. So, what is ZC? Does anybody know what it is? Yeah. Okay, I know you two do. That's cheating. Okay. So it stands for Zend Certified Engineer, although they've actually recently this year updated it and they now call it Zend Certified PHP Engineer, but it's the same kind of thing. Zend's the company that actually kind of produce and kind of maintain PHP as a language. So it's pretty much the only... All right, Rob. It's basically the only real industry recognized qualification. Anybody here have it? I'm guessing if nobody knew what it was. Yeah, okay. Again. I do too. Me. So yeah, as I mentioned, it's the only real industry recognized PHP qualification. Some people, when I say that, argue that W3 schools do a PHP qualification as well. I'm not going to put that one up there. I think we're all agreed that's not really recognized. But it tests industry standard technical knowledge and skills. So the questions are designed by a board of independent PHP developers. About 30, last time I checked, 34 people on the board. But it changes every so often. But they're all unrelated to Zend, so from various companies like Amazon and Facebook and all over the place. As I say, it's like an independent advisory board is what they call it. So what's in it? It's broken down into the different categories mentioned up on the board, and they're all weighted slightly differently on questions. So it puts an emphasis on sort of PHP basics, variable declarations and constants, and all of the standard things that you would be expected to know as a PHP developer. Also puts a high emphasis on security and OOP. Those are the kind of key things that you want to be able to do as a PHP developer. Then average weightings around functions, web features, arrays, strings and patterns. And then low weighting on sort of data formatting types, I/O databases and error handling. So some of the, I don't want to say less used functions in parts of PHP because that's probably not true, but they're kind of the bits that are less important as far as the exam's concerned. But it will test you on the entire breadth of PHP. It's not enough to just know sort of certain areas, to just know functional or OOP, or to just be really good at security kind of thing. It's absolutely everything that you can do in PHP you'll need to know in order to get through the exam. So why take it? Employer recognition. There's like a yellow pages it tends to be referred to online. You can go onto the you can go onto the Zend website and look up all the Zend certified engineers. It's just a massive list of everybody in the world that's got the qualification. So if you go and search me, I am actually on there. It's quite good from when you're changing jobs, just to be able to say, actually, I have got this. It's rubber stamp kind of thing. I do know what I'm talking about. Personal recognition is quite a nice thing to be able to say, actually, I know what I'm talking about. Particularly if you haven't got a degree, like I haven't. It's just nice to be able to say, I can write PHP sometimes. Gives you the right to use ZCE in your name. I don't think anybody I know actually does that. But, perks. And most importantly is that actually it really improves the skills. It's to learn all the things that you have to get through the exam. There's so much stuff in there that you've probably got no idea PHP does. That certainly was for me when I had to do it. So it's a really good way of just learning all of the weird things in PHP that you've probably never seen before. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the test. It used to be 70 questions, but they've just released the new version on PHP 7.1, and it's now 75. It's actually about 75 because it depends on which questions. Yeah, Rob, you can stop nodding. This is my talk. I know the answers. Yes, about 75 questions. Depends which questions you get. As to you might, if you, some questions tend to test multiple things, so you might get less questions. It's a 90-minute exam, so it's about 77 seconds per question, which for some of them is way longer than you need, and sometimes it's actually you need quite a bit longer than that. So, but they're really good at putting trick questions in there. We're going to have a look at some in a minute and see how good you guys are on some of them. But yeah, they like to, try and trick you. The 75 questions you get are actually picked from sort of randomly. Actually, when you just take the test, it picks randomly 75 questions from a pool of about 600. There's no official figure on how many questions there actually are in total, but best guesses are that there's about 600 questions, and you just get 75 random ones that fit the categories that we looked at earlier. Question types. So there are 3 main question types: multiple choice with multiple option, and free text. Multiple choice ones are just standard radio buttons. You pick one out of a selection of 4 or 5. They're the most common. You get them pretty much for almost every question. Sometimes it does include a none of the above, which is one of the ways that they like to trick you. And sometimes it includes ones that say all of the above, which is another way they like to trick you. Multiple choice, multiple options. So that's checkboxes instead of radio buttons, obviously. Will tell you how many of those to tick. So it'll say, pick which 2 of these, and then it'll give you 4 or 5 options again. Gives you a nice little warning that will tell you whether you've picked too many or not enough. So you can't get it wrong. And then there's free range text, just an empty text box. There's not very many of them. You usually only get 1 or 2 during the exam. And it'll be something really simple, like what's the name of the function that does this kind of thing. And then it's got kind of a rough matching algorithm. So if you do, depends on what they're asking you as to how strict you have to be about getting it right. So if they're asking you for a function name, then they might look at if you put spaces and things in. But it's kind of a rough algorithm for that. As I say, they're fairly rare though. During the exam, you can't take anything in with you. They're actually really strict about it. They'll take like jumpers and everything off of you, pens, paper. They won't let you take anything in. They'll give you a they'll give you a piece of paper or and a pen or a pencil like a Sharpie type whiteboard thing. They'll give you one of those kind of things to write on and make notes. But otherwise, they literally take absolutely everything off of you. Scores, again, this is one of those things that they haven't publicized. Kind of guess is around 70%. It's hard to know because different questions are weighted differently, and some questions are marked, contain things on different weights. So the question might be marking something that's highly weighted and low weighted at the same time. That makes guessing marks quite difficult. But yeah, best guess is about 70% pass rate. There's no penalties for wrong answers. So I always advise people to just have a go. If you have no idea about the question, then you can just pick one. When you're taking the test, every question has like a little flag next to it, so you can mark it as I don't know the answer to this kind of thing, and then come back to it later. Once you've got to the end of the 70 questions, it shows you all the questions that you flagged, and you can go back to them and have another go. You can go back to actually any of the questions, even if you haven't flagged them, and redo. Important one, nobody actually sees what you answer, including yourself once you're finished. So a lot of people, when they take the test, are a little bit worried, like, oh, I don't want to answer because I don't know, and what happens if somebody sees what I answered and it was stupid? Nobody sees that at all. It's all marked automatically. Doesn't get saved. Let's have a look at some questions, see if we can answer these. I hope that they're not too hard or too easy. Anybody tell me what the output? Rob, you're at a band, and so are you, because you've already done this. It's cheating. Anybody tell me what the output of this is? Yeah.
5.
Nope.
155.
Close, but not quite.
One, 1, 1.
Nope.
105. 105.
Yes. Would you like to explain why?
Well, so you've got string length of 0 is just one character. It's, it is treated as empty because it's 0. It's that falsy kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it will be true, and then actually yes. Good question on the next one. No, actually no. Sorry.
It's falsely again.
Falsely again, yeah.
Yeah, so 105. Okay, these are the kinds of questions you get. So let's try another one. What happens if you run this?
This is a tree. You get a warning.
Yes, you do get this is a tree. Well, you get this. This tree is tree. Actually, it's close to this is a tree. But yeah, same kind of thing. But you don't get a warning.
Notice?
Yeah, you get a notice.
Sorry?
This constant is not defined or something.
Yeah, you get an undefined constant, which is assumed to be a string, because constants are case sensitive. So when you define tree with a capital T and then try and use it with a lowercase t, it doesn't understand and just converts it straight into a string. So yeah, you get this tree as tree. This one's a little bit harder. Give you a bit of time on this one. Don't know, can you do it? Yeah, I think you do know the answer to this. I think I told you so. No? Go on, have a go.
Dash, bang, bang, and.
No.
Well, I already knew I'm going to fail the test, so.
Do you want me to tell you the answer? Anybody got any other?
Oh. Explanation.
Sorry?
Explanation.
No. Sorry.
Is it hyphen, exclamation, exclamation, ampersand?
Nope.
Is it why? Oh God, why? Should we write that?
Probably yes, but that wouldn't be one of the answers. So the output is actually hyphen bang ampersand. You only get one ampersand. One bang, because B is called first, passing in B, which is A, obviously. So you get the hyphen and A. Where's my? That's changed. Oh, my slides are wrong. Sorry. So you do, if the A is an ampersand, I'll use this slide. So you get hyphen and the bang or the exclamation mark, but because this B is an echo and not a return, the return of this is actually empty. So A receives empty, which means inside the A function, this is just nothing at all. So you just get an ampersand out at the other end, so you don't get a double bang. Yeah, does that make sense? As I say, they like to put trick code in these things. Okay, so at the end of the exam, when you've done all of those questions and confused yourself to no end, advice, review your answers. As I said, it comes up with a big grid of everything that you've answered and all of the questions that you flagged, the amount of people that do this and just go, oh yeah, that'd be fine, and go through and don't go back and review their stuff, review their questions. It's unbelievable. Just you've got 90 minutes. Just take all the time that you need. You don't get penalised for it. Once you've reviewed all your questions, click finish, and then don't leave. Again, this is another common mistake. People click finish and then they walk off, even though there's a little spinning thing on the screen. I know this because I did it. If you wait a little bit after it's done some calculating, it'll come up and give you the result on the screen. It's really, really boring and unobvious. It comes up in like size 10 black text, like a single line that just says, you passed. Great. It's, yeah, really unencouraging, actually. Yeah, nothing remotely exciting. So a lot of people, they'll click and they'll wait, and some black text will come up and they'll go, oh, is that it? Do I leave now? And don't actually read the fact that they've passed. Which can then be really bad, because once you've left the exam room, you can't get that screen back, and the people that administer the exam don't know whether you've passed or not. They have to log into a system to find out if you've passed, which can take quite a long time. So if they don't bother to do that, then you actually just have to wait until a certificate potentially turns up to find out if you pass, which can take like 2 weeks. Not that this happened to me at all. Yeah, it's not the best system, but so definitely click finish and then just wait and actually read all the things that it says, which is really good advice for the entire exam, because like I say, there's lots of trick questions. So how to become Zend certified? To take the exam, you have to book it through, you have to make an account on Zend.com first of all, which will give you an account ID. You have to then go to the Pearson VUE website and put your account ID in, and use an exam voucher that you have to buy from the Zend. Basically, it's really complicated, but there is a guide online that will explain how to do all of this. You can buy the exam vouchers from Zend, the website, for about £145. They sell them in euros, so it depends on the exchange rate, but last time I checked it was about £145, although actually after last week it's probably a lot more than that. The Zend study guide, which I'm led to believe is the prize for the best, for, I don't know, feedback, is it? Dave? Is that? Yeah, for somebody's feedback. Okay, so there is a Zend study guide that's going to be one of the feedbacks. You buy that online, it's really good. Thoroughly recommend buying that. It's like the official study guide. Even if you're not going to take the exam, it's actually quite a good just learning tool to buy. You can just download the PDF from the website. Like I say, it's about 18 quid. Zend themselves provide a test prep course that you can go on. They do them at different locations across the world. The UK, I think they do some of them in Bristol. Or you can do them remotely. They have online webinars that you can do. It's about £860 for it. And depending on which one you do, whether you do like the intensive course or the longer course, it's about a week's worth of learning. So I think it's 3 days of full-time learning. But it's actually a really good course to do. Alternatively, I mentioned that I'm actually training myself. I run a ZCE test prep course where we provide the voucher and the study guide and a mock exam and stuff, and you can do all of that in Bath with me for £1,000. That's it. Any questions?
What's the most random thing you learnt prepping for your...
Oh, that's a really hard one. That's a good question.
You've got 7 seconds.
I don't know. I learned you have to learn about soap, which was a bit fun. Not really done that before. Yeah, that was a bit random. You have to do 2 different XML libraries, which are a little bit abstract. Don't really do. Yeah, yeah. Although actually they have reduced the amount of XML stuff that you have to do in the new 7.1 release of it. I haven't actually done my 7.1 exam. I did my 5.6. I will hold my hands up with that one. I am updating my skills soon to 7.1, but yeah, they're probably the 2 weirdest ones, I think. I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff.
Hebrev, all I'm saying.
Anybody else? Yeah.
So do you have to recertify for each minor release?
No, so they released new exam versions. I don't really know how they decide, actually, just when it's changed enough from the previous one that it's worth them recreating a new one. So the last one that they did was PHP 5.5. They've just released, literally about 4 weeks ago, they released the 7.1 one. So they just kind of do it incrementally when, I think basically when they've had enough time to produce the next one, but when there's a big enough gap in changes, really. But so when you take the exam, you get qualified in that version. So then if you want to update your skills, you do have to do it again for the next one. So like I say, I did it for PHP 5.5, and I'm going to be retaking my 7.1 one in a couple of weeks. Yep.
I think I looked at the study guide back when it was like 5.0 or 5.1 or something. It seemed to be quite a few questions about like which way around the parameters go in this function and stuff, where it seemed like if you needed to know that, you just look in the manual. Yeah,
there is a lot of that kind of stuff. A lot of it is things that you probably would just look up. It kind of tests, as I said in the talk, it's testing your breadth of PHP. So although there is bits that are like which order do the parameters go in, it's more about knowing what functions exist and how to use them, I guess, which does result sometimes in actually just having to know parameter orders. Yeah.
You've spoken to a few employers and stuff like that. Do you think it makes a difference being certified? Are there employers going, actually, I've got this candidate, this one's certified, I'm more likely to bring them in for an interview?
It's a good question. Yes, is the short answer to it. So the company that I work for, Maiden, we actually have, they like to say that 100% of our developers are ZCE, but that's actually not true. There's one person that isn't. We like to poke him a lot. Yeah, so they really highly rate it. But we actually provide in-house training for developers that don't have it, but anybody that does have it is basically top of the pile for recruitment for us. As far as other companies are concerned within the local area, generally it's not something that, it's not like companies look for it. Anybody that's read a job, recruitment thing, it's never on there. But it is the kind of thing that will get you noticed. It will usually put you sort of near the top of the pile, particularly if you don't have a degree or if you've come into PHP from a different language. Then it shows that you've actually learned the breadth of PHP, and you're not just, oh, I'm a Java developer that knows how to write some PHP. You actually know everything about PHP, arguably. Yeah.
Why would someone not pass the test after they've taken like a prep course like your one or the official one and done the research?
Well, I guess that depends on the people. Lots of different reasons. A lot of people fail just because of nerves, like any test, I guess. But the main reason, I suppose, is the amount of stuff that you have to learn. It really is a really wide range of knowledge, particularly a lot of sort of the more abstract stuff, like I mentioned with like SOAP and XPath stuff. So yeah, it's a lot of kind of remembering stuff. That's probably what makes it the hardest.
Any idea what the pass rate is first time?
That's a very good question. No, I don't. I have absolutely no idea, is my honest answer to that. I've trained about 20 people through it so far. My personal pass rate is 9 out of 10, but that's just that doesn't help you in any way, really. So no, I don't know. Yeah. One more.
I think it could be seen as a negative thing by employers to have a qualification in a particular language, in that a developer would be so committed to one particular language that they wouldn't be willing to look outside that language for the appropriate solution.
Not in my experience. I can see what you mean, and I can see that possibly if you'd only ever written PHP and nothing else and you had a qualification in it, then maybe. But that's probably more down to the things that you talk about rather than just the qualifications that you have. So if you're writing other languages yourself and you've got projects that prove that you're doing other stuff, then it shows that you're not just completely PHP driven. Would be my opinion as somebody that does quite a lot of recruitment, but yeah, I don't think so. It's not been, in my experience, that it's never been a negative from that perspective.
Cool, thank you very much.